With a 19-point lead, but only managed another 6 goals for the match. Drew Morford has the story.
Gets it back.
Lockett was the focus of attention, but early when he was swamped, the Saints had backup and Mick Dwyer snapped a great goal. North kicked 3 goals in 3 minutes into the wind. It was the other full forward, Longmire, who scored first.
And he kicks a goal.
Ian Fairley started well and kept Lockett scoreless for 17 minutes. But then the Plugger show took over. He took 5 marks and had 4 goals to quarter time, including his 50th for the season. McCarthy came off the bench to kick 2 goals and reduce the margin to 10 points. Longmire switched ends to pick up Lockett and kept him goalless for the quarter. But the runners, Bowie and Harvey, goaled late in the term for a half-time lead of 20 points.
Left foot shot is home.
The game deteriorated in the second half, both sides kicking 4 goals. Tasmanian Jody Arnold got his first in AFL football. Danny Frawley presented a gift to Clarkson with a misguided tap-out in defence.
Frawley nearly marks. Off the ground, Clarkson.
Lockett injured his knee, putting him in doubt for the state game. He limped off in the last quarter. St Kilda clinched victory with a magnificent team goal late in the piece, finished off by Harvey. But the 16-point victory was less than convincing.
Open goal goes Harvey, and he dobs it.
Drew Morford, 7 Nightly News.
Gets the hand pass off to Lowe. Lowe's kick wide, out to half forward. Bounces nicely for Harvey. He'll get the handball over the top. Russo should be able to run in and goal. The angle's difficult. Russo goes bang and puts it through. Winmar somehow gets the hand pass out. Harvey, Russo, brilliant ball work, but Nixon fumbles. Crucial, gets it back. Russo, left foot kick, close to the goal line. Lockett one out. Big punch from Smith, shot by Dwyer. A goal to St Kilda, magnificent play.
A quick kick, plenty of pressure still there. Hepburn against Grant. Handball to Bryce, to Rock, to German. Now he should go, left foot, and he has put it through.
Cracker's kick now across his body towards half forward, mark taken by McDonald. Hand pass, Schwass over the top. The running player is Stevens. He's deep in that half forward area. The kick by Stevens to the front of the goals. Nearly a mark to North Melbourne. Kick off the ground by Rock. It could be a goal. It is.
Allison, left foot, towards centre half forward. No free kick paid. Frawley, Hepburn paddles it out in front. Longmire with a chance, and he kicks a goal, and they're in front.
Out towards the outer side. St Kilda have got the opportunity here. Bowie, disciplined kick to the front of the goal square. Lockett, yes sir. Lockett for his first, he makes no mistake.
Back to where Rice was earlier on. Hepburn in the front spot, Low at the back. Russo has taken the long sleeve Guernsey off and put a short one on. Jeffrey did well. Coughlin, Lockett. But Jeffrey's footy was terrific there. These are really bread and butter for the best full forward in the competition. Drop punt, straight through the middle. 2 to Lockett, 4 to St Kilda, 4-5 to 3 goals.
North will get clear. German, handball wide. McRae over the top. Angus, 50 metres from goal goes Angus, and he pops it through. Great goal to North Melbourne. McRae's caught with the ball, and he should be penalised. Now the advantage is paid, and Bowie, an active little player for St Kilda. The kick towards full forward. Lockett, what a great mark. Lockett from 40, and he makes no mistake.
Nixon, left foot. Lockett's there again with Fairley. Lockett. Oh, too big, too strong. Directly in front, and the drop punt's okay. It's a goal. Nixon's handball very good to Harvey, who has tremendous pace. Winmar. Smith against him. Now Bowie. He can kick a goal. Drop punt. Neat, and scores.
3 St Kilda players there, and Coughlin comes away with the ball. Coughlin, his second tap on the ground. The kick into the forward pocket. It goes over the back. Harvey gathers the bouncing ball. Left foot shot is home.
Schwass at the back. Clever handball to Cracker. Cracker with a little short kick, which is part of his game. Fairley has taken off Lockett after Lockett kicked 4 on him early. Chandler, who's done a pretty good job. Schwass. They've got something moving here. Schwass with a high drop punt. Clarkson in the front spot, and a good mark. And Clarkson from 20 metres out drop punt goals. Harvey, short, Arnold, Winmar, still Winmar, good handball, Coughlin, Arnold, will he kick his first goal in league football? I think he might have done it, yes.
The kick goes to Bryce. Bryce's hand pass goes to Hamilton. Hamilton nearly caught. Gets his kick away. It's effective. Mark taken by Fairley. Ian Fairley had a busy afternoon at full-back with Tony Lockett. Kicks for goal and kicks truly. Running close to the man on the mark, which forces him to kick it high. It's not going to get the distance. Low! Definite mark to Low. Doesn't need distance here. He's only a metre from the goal line. Accuracy looks pretty good. It's a goal.
The Saints getting a good break in the first quarter when they booted 6-7.
But it'll go to Low for keeping that player out of the marking contest. So St Kilda getting the umpiring decisions. Low's kick to full forward Lockett. It's punched away. Dwyer, left foot snap. Winmar will kick it. No, he doesn't. He helps it through. It's a rush behind us St Kilda. And I tell you what, Nicky Winmar could nearly have got a free kick there right on the goal line against Brett Allison. The difference is 15 points. So North Melbourne, halfway through the last term, are still well in this match.
Hepburn on a lead, Harding at the back. The Saints have kicked 4-13 since quarter time. And a free kick against Hepburn, so things just happening for St Kilda at the moment.
32 free kicks. This is their 33rd free kick. North Melbourne have had 18.
So almost double the number of free kicks. That can tell a lot of tales. You can take it any way you like. Harding towards full forward. Lockett will get a free kick. We'll make it 34. This one against Longmire for pushing him out. Well, it looked like it was there. Lockett was always going to struggle to get to the fall of the ball. And Lockett pushing him in the back. But this is no give-me goal because goals have been difficult. To the right of screen all day. Lockett kicked 4 in the first term. We're talking about 11, 12, maybe even more goals for the day.
And he has to rest his big body on his left leg, which is very, very suspect to kick this ball. It'll be interesting to see if he can get any distance, Bruce.
Yes, heavily bandaged, drop punt, good kick, terrific kick. And the champ goes. 11-20 to 9-11.
Looking to play on, he does so. Gives it back to Bowie. Bowie's handball to Daniels. St Kilda could get a goal out of this. Russo, Harvey, into an open goal goes Harvey, and he dobs it. Robert Harvey gets his second, 2 goals, 3 as his tally, and St Kilda certainly will win this match now, 12-21 to 9-11.
Today's match is part of the CUB AFL 1990 Premiership season.
And indeed the Saints went on to score by 16 points. Lockett 5 and Harvey 2 for St Kilda. And for North Melbourne, Fairley 3, 2 to McCarthy and 2 to Clarkson. There were no reports there in the crowd, 22,351.
As Ian Robinson said, Collingwood giving Melbourne a father of a hiding. Stuart Lowe kicked 6 goals against the Bears yesterday for St Kilda. The Saints, with Winmar in the 2s and Lockett looking on, were still in pretty good form. Here's a collision between 2 Saints, Nathan Burke and Peter Freeman. This one between a Bear and a Saint. Mark Zanotti and Spiro Korkomilis, and Spiro wasn't too happy about it. Frankie Coughlin was in terrific form yesterday. Long sleeve, not the tidiest of players, but had a great match for St Kilda. Well, the biggest upset, I guess, had to be...
The best way to sum up the Bears were a perfect cure for insomnia, because they were pretty ordinary in that first half, but credit, I suppose, to the St Kilda. They went out in a very purposeful manner. Big influence on the game was from their centre line, where we had Daniels on one wing. I thought he may have interchanged early with Davenport, who kicked the first 2 goals of the match. Good contributors in the centre. Frank Coughlin continued his good form, as did Dean Rice on the other wing. Harding, another important player in the following division, and I think he's an adequate ruckman, but he is probably the league's most mobile and around the ground ruckman at the moment, and positions himself very well. Of course, they had Stuart Lowe up full forward, or interchanging with Grant from centre half forward to full forward, and they were fairly wasteful, I suppose, but Stuart Lowe at least gained a bit of confidence with his kicking for goal. as the game went on and finished with 6. But they just had winners everywhere, and unfortunately for the Bears, I mean, you could only really credit David Bain as one bloke that had a red-hot go. And Bobby, I'd have to agree with your comments the other week on yesterday's performance. It was pretty dismal, and I think Norman would be very disappointed.
Was there any secret about Nicky Winmar down at the ground? He played very well in the reserve, which is excellent, of course.
Well, no, there was nothing come out in the press box or anything like that. I think he did. He went about the job very well. He certainly didn't spit the dummy. He played very well in the reserves, and whether it was disciplinary or form, I don't know. But I'm sure he'll be back, and as Scotty Palmer mentioned, I think he'd be #1 pick for Western Australia.
Rice to centre half forward. Winmar. Still Winmar. Chance now for Harvey, who spins his way up. Still with Harvey and Winmar. Quick kick by Harvey. Will it stay in? Yes, it does, and Nixon takes the mark at half forward. It's got Bowie short, calling for it. Got Lowe now looking for a lead. Nixon, 2 marks, 8 kicks. And as Dennis Cometti said a couple of minutes ago, involved in an extraordinary incident after Hickmott was just shepherding him off. Seemed to lose his cool completely. Will he kick a goal here? It'll take a very good kick. Drop punt, coming back. What a goal. A beauty. 12-11 to 9-10.
Well, a high kick from Rice. Hung in the air a long time. Nixon took the mark. And watch this kick. In running, you would never back it. And yet at the last possible moment, it swung right to left and snuck through. And what a big goal it was, not only in the context of this game, but perhaps the season for the Saints. Handy lead now. We're back in the middle. Coughlin goes off the ground. Melbourne need the next goal. Tingay fell over. Keogh with a run of it. Keogh does well. Kicks through centre. It bounces towards half forward. Johnson hand passes towards centre half forward. Devonport, as he's done all day, stands firm. Kicks it out wide, but it's all Melbourne. Stretch. Possibly Melbourne's best player. Now the shepherd was too far off the ball, says the umpire. Well, Rice gets the free kick, and I suppose technically the umpire was right, but certainly the umpire putting his stamp on that piece of play, as Tingay has claimed. Now, I'm not sure that umpires should do that. Clearly, it was going to be, in the scheme of things, a Melbourne ball. It was 3 against 1. The man was 15 metres in the clear, and the umpire decided to pluck a free kick out of that and change the nature of things. Well, if it's the rule, it's the rule. But Melbourne a little stiff. Steins. Rice has got it. Smothered off the boot by Obst. Brett Lovett timed the release superbly. And away goes Phoebe towards half forward. Viney couldn't juggle it. Knocked away by Devonport. Scramble forward by Heber. Brilliantly taken by Burke, away to Coughlin.
With a drop punt, Lowe the target. Sporting doing pretty well in this term. Cracker to Bowie. And will he go? Yes, he does. 13-11 to 9-10. And that was an excellent Rovers goal, because the handball put him under a little bit of pressure, and he was quick enough to control it and snap truly.
Now, if you want the story of the game, it's here. Just watch Hughes. The indecision, whether he goes to low or stays off. At the last possible moment, he checks, but that was time enough for that man to get free and kick the goal. So Melbourne now in deep trouble. They trail by 25 points. And St Kilda showing a lot of fight this afternoon. They're still very much in this competition. Obst, the high kick. Pekin with great courage going back after it. Viney away to Tingay. Opportunity for Johnson. Johnson from 40 metres out. Misses. He had a little more time than he knew. And it goes through for a minor score. Remarkable effort by the Saints. They've made a lot of mistakes, and still they lead by 4 goals. Devonport, most impressive. Favours the outer side. Steins is there. Came over the top and fisted it forward. Viney, target practice, goal. And they're the sort of mistakes that hurt teams. You wonder how Viney can be so free. Well, the answer is the man that's marking him, Devonport, kicked the ball in. St Kilda 13-11 and Melbourne at 10-11.
Yes, interesting one there. Devonport kicking the ball in. Viney standing on his own at half forward. Nobody bothering to pick him up. Steins able to thump it out towards Viney, who turned around and, as Dennis Committee said, took target practice and goal. His second today. 89-71. Viney with 2, and the Viney-Devonport clash, the most interesting of the day. Both having an effect on the game. It's been a fierce third term. Little love lost between the two teams. Some fierce tackling. And the umpires obviously directed this week to let it go. Obbs with a thump away. Burke. Rice. Oh, good turn. And if the MCG was a little better, he would have held his feet. Lowry, good kick. It was a mighty kick. It had Lowe's name written all over it. And Rice was able to get it to Peake and to Lowry, who was able to give it to Lowe. Well, you would back him in from here, wouldn't you? He's had 11 marks, 9 kicks, and kicked 2 goals. And he must finish this off with a goal, because there's a minute and a half remaining in this third quarter. There's just 3 goals the difference. And after inspirational play like that, you've got to kick the goal from 20 metres out. Low, drop punt, steers it, and puts it through.
Taking the most, Grant slid through his fingertips. Phoebe tidies up, straight back to Lowe. If there was one place you didn't need to kick it in that situation, it was back to this man. He's marked everything this afternoon. 14 marks to Stuart Lowe. They contest about 15 metres out. Winmar from behind. Well, that could be the icing on the cake. Nicky Winmar hit his hands. He went back after it. And now will kick it goal from about 30 metres out on a very slight angle. If he gets this one, you get the feeling Melbourne won't be able to come back. Marvellous effort today by the Saints. They've defied the odds. Winmar gets the goal. St Kilda 15-12, Melbourne 10-13. Phoebe's clearing kick, not a particularly good one. Lowe, who just kicked it down there, takes the chest mark, and then Winmar at the second attempt marks the low kick. So maybe now a match-winning lead as far as the Saints are concerned.
15-12 to 10-13, 102-73. Harding the tap. Bowie to the goal front. Lowe. Hughes with him. And off Hughes' foot. And a throw in. 14 marks and 13 kicks to Stuart Lowe. And Bowie getting stronger and stronger as well as the game goes on, with 13 kicks and 8 handballs. Lowe versus Steins. Body against body. Cracker. Quick kick. Winmar, who's done some great things, and here's a goal. No, he hits the post, across the goal, to goal and out of bounds. Unbelievable. Well, I've lost my voice for the moment, Dennis. I can't believe he missed it.
Neither can he.
It was going to be just quite wonderful the way he was charging in and getting rid of everybody and going to put it through as easy as you like. But Hughes takes the kick to half-back.
This is Weiss. Coughlin. Forward at centre wing, kicks inside 50. Arnold's the target and he's taken the mark. Started the game at centre half back. He's now on the forward line. And will kick it goal from about 40 metres out. Could be the unlikely hero here inside the last 11 minutes of the game. The misting rain almost stopped. And Arnold, picked up in the draft last November, kicking at the Saints' 16th goal. Good effort. I think he's got it. He has. could be the game. 16-12 to 11-14. Arnold swung on the forward line, taking this mark. Difficult kick, although a natural left footer had the angle open up. And he steered it through from long range. You sense they've weathered the storm now. Nixon, Arnold growing in stature, offering the lead and taking the mark. Allowed to stand, and the Melbourne fans saying, well, perhaps that was similar to what happened at the other end with Lovett. Different umpire. So Johnny Arnold kicked the last goal, and the chance to post his second and put it beyond doubt. Masterstroke, Arnold on the forward line. Who would have thought? The big fellow taking plenty of time, savouring the moment. Much easier than the previous kick. So Arnold gets another one. 17 goals on the board now for the Saints. 17-12 to Melbourne 11-14. And they're finishing right over the top. And of course, this keeps their finals hopes alive. They came in today in trouble. Only won 2 of their last 5. The record was 6-6. But St Kilda proving to everybody that they're right back in business and do have the necessary to give the top teams a real shake.
The Saints by 34 points, the biggest margin of the day. Coughlin, and their fans want another one. Rice, oh, cleverly done. Drop punt, low. Well, they're on fire now, the Saints. Rice with a little sidestep, and Low will always take those marks. 16 marks today.
It's hard to know how to play him. I think the best thing to do is to deflate the ball.
Yeah, so it doesn't get that far. Well, he's kicked 3, kicked 6 last week. He's only 25 to 30 metres out, straight in front. And suddenly the Saints are building on percentage. Drop punt, straight through the middle. 4 to Low and 18 to St Kilda.
Yes, a magnificent performance in the end by the Saints. They booted 6 in that final term, kept the Demons down to 4. Final scoreline St Kilda, 20 goals, 12, 132. Melbourne, 14, 15, 99. The victory margin there, 33 points for the Saints. So the final 5 is
there we go to the MCG.
Handballs
on. An excellent run here by Devonport.
Devonport's second bounce carries him through centre wing. Takes on and beats Spalding. Runs to 50. Phil Manasseh goes over the top. Bowie, 25 metres out. Kicks the goal.
Bowie's becoming an important player for St Kilda, and so is this man, Stuart Lowe.
Lowe, what a mark!
He was at his best yesterday.
Lowe, not paid, yes. It's a mark.
He took 16 marks in total.
This is Rice, nicely done.
And some of them were brilliant.
Rice through centre wing towards half forward, and why not go there? Lowe's taken the mark. With a drop punt, Lowe the target. Spalding
now Cracker, was this a hand pass to Bowie? Bowie controlled it very well with the rover, and through it went. Nicky Winmar had some highs and lows. Watch this.
Oh, Winmar! Oh, what a mark! Sensational! Quick kick.
Now this was a goal all the way. He shrugged everybody off. Easy as you like. No siree, out of bounds. I couldn't believe it. And neither could Nicky.
Done pretty well for Melbourne.
But I reckon one of the most important things for St Kilda yesterday was Winmar's return to form.
Drop punt, goes for goal. Good kick. Don't you just love that?
Yes, well, the Saint fans loved it, and so did the players, and they're back in town. They're in with a chance. There's no doubt about that.
We had the opportunities but couldn't put the score on the board. And at half-time, even though they trailed by 29 points and the rain came, you felt that they could have had an outside chance. But the first 3 minutes in the third quarter, the Saints, piled on 3 quick goals and really shattered any dreams the Swans may have had, and they just outclassed the Swans from there on.
Cal, Greg Williams returned.
Yes, he played he was one of their good contributors. He tied, of course. He had something like 17 possessions in the first half, and ended up with around 27. But you know, it was a fairly unobtrusive Greg Williams yesterday compared to what he's like in.
Well, what about his coach's statement, Cal? That he needs more protection. How did you go along with that?
I mean, I wasn't following him all day, but I certainly couldn't go along with it. I didn't see anything untoward happening to Williams. I mean, he did go down at a centre bounce at one stage when the players cleared he was on the ground and needed treatment from the trainers, but Greg's been on the other end of that a few times, so I couldn't understand the statements at all. But there's a player who really made the difference. It's Jamie Lamb, who's been known as a half-back, really, when he's been able to get a Guernsey in the seniors, but he really was an elusive half-forward yesterday. He had the better of Toohey early, and I think, whilst on Toohey, I just think that the Lockett...
It was a comeback game for two Brownlow medalists at Moorabbin, but Tony Lockett started on the bench, and Greg Williams probably wished he was there also. Lowe showed why he's a Brownlow favourite with the first of 3 goals, but a major to Mackesy saw the Swans trail by just 14 points at the change. St Kilda looked the goods as Winmar banged through his 3rd goal early in the 2nd quarter, and Ken Sheldon decided it was time to bring on Plugger. The rain came in the 3rd quarter. Lockett started a flood of his own with goals for the Saints, and the home side had raced to an 11-goal lead. Russell Jeffries and Darren Mackesy forgot the football for a moment, but Lockett was enjoying his return to the big time with his 3rd. Kane Taylor needed oxygen for this one, and then Winmar put through his 4th as the Saints scored a 75-point win over the Swans.
And the closest game of the round was down at Moorabbin, where St Kilda snatched a thrilling 1-point win over Fitzroy. The Lions held a handy 17-point lead at the start of the final term, but in 30 minutes of seesawing football, where the lead changed several times, the Saints edged to the lead in time on, and they were able to hold out to win. Final scores 17-15, 117 St Kilda to Fitzroy 18-8, 116. For the Saints, Devonport kicked 6 and Mick Dwyer 4, and for the Lions, Wheeldon got 7 and Taylor 3.
Now, this is an unusual incident. The trainer, unfortunately, getting in the road here, and would have a sore back this morning, but up he got, and away he goes. But the Saints, well, they were behind for most of the day, but Delinek snapping a goal here for Fitzroy. Fitzroy must have looked as if they were home at one stage. Wheeldon kicked 7 goals, but Devonport got 6 for the Saints, and Dwyer got 5. But Fitzroy, who were quite disappointing last week against Footscray, as I said, had a good lead for a lot of the way. Here's Devonport, who was in very good form. Remember, against West Coast not all that long ago, he had that sensational first quarter where he set up a big lead for St Kilda. They couldn't quite go on with it. Lockett's handball here will go to Dwyer, and this is one of 5 goals for Dwyer. And the Saints with a strong last quarter at Moorabbin to get up in the last few minutes. Wheeldon, who's not very tall for a full forward, but he can take a mark, and did kick 7 goals. And this is Lowe putting the Saints in front late in the match. He's had a terrific year. He's one of the favourites for the Brownlow.
Saints did come to life. Nothing was going to get in their way. Lockett's leads were working, but his boot wasn't. Goals were traded in term 2, and the scores were levelled several times until the Lions broke loose. The 3rd quarter belonged to Fitzroy's Darren Wheeldon. He kicked 4 to give the Lions a handy lead, but Devonport's great running goal from the boundary pegged it back to 17 points. St Kilda mounted a final challenge, kicking 2 goals within a minute, and Dwyer's snap put them 1 point ahead. For the last 6 minutes, the lead seesawed, and Fitzroy's Waterson kicked on the siren, but it wasn't enough. St Kilda by the narrowest of margins.
17 points, and it really looked like, well, the hopes of the crowd, of course, for St Kilda to get the first goal and create some kind of roll, but actually Fitzroy, as they had for most part of the day, looked the better side. Got that vital goal early in the last quarter, went to a 23-point lead, but great persistence was shown by the St Kilda side, and a few good moves by the hierarchy there. They put Lamb onto Taylor because Fitzroy had a good duo working in the forward line with Wheeldon and young Jason Taylor, creating many problems for the backman of Jeffrey, and the other one just escapes me for the moment. But Nixon was moved down there, and Lamb, as I said, and they cut those players out of it. Devonport, who had a mixed bag of a day, was actually spent some time in the interchange bench. He came off the bench, was moved to the half forward and became their match winner, because Lowe and Lockett were held fairly well for the most part of the day, but Devonport and Dwyer, who was lurking around the forward pocket, were the match winners, and Devonport with 4 goals and a couple to to the little bloke Dwyer got them home with a great goal by Lowe, of course.